We moved here in 2016 to Elm Grove, and so we've been here about 8 years, and we love it. My kids love it, and my spouse and I love it, and it's just a great community, so we're really happy to be here.
Welcome to Location Community, the podcast where real estate isn't just about finding the right house, it's about discovering the perfect place to call home. I'm Mike Rohr with Jeremy Doering of Doering&Co Real Estate in Elm Grove. On this show, we explore the dynamic relationship between where you live and how you live, diving into the importance of not just the location, but the community that comes with it. All right, welcome everybody who's tuning in for episode 2 of Location Community. Great thanks again to our first guest. Last time, Lisa Frank from Aurora. She was fantastic.
She was great. She resembles everything that this is why we started.
Yeah.
Right? This is how it got going.
Correct. I agree. Super happy with episode 1. I mean, I think hopefully episode 2 and going forward, well, like I said, we'll continue to get better and keep tuning in. So today we're going to talk about an important topic that just kind of went into effect. Mm-hmm. I was actually hoping we could get this episode out sooner, but that's just the new commission rules, from the NAR based on the lawsuits.
Right. Yeah, it's decades and decades of the way that we've been doing it as real estate agents, and all of a sudden, this is a big. I wouldn't say blow, but it's a big turn.
Change.
It's a big change in our industry.
Change is hard.
It is, but as the way we look at it as an experienced agent, this is my 23rd year doing it. I feel that it's a good change overall.
Yeah,
it just adds a lot more transparency. It really just helps separate, the buyer and seller and who's representing who.
Yep.
And just solidifies the importance of having a real estate agent, especially now that you have to have a buyer's agency agreement signed prior to seeing a home. So it really helps us as agents, have those conversations with our buyers to, what involves having a buyer's agent, what do we do for them, and help strengthening the aspects of representation.
Yeah. So I guess just for people tuning in who may not know, there are multiple lawsuits that, paid out big money basically to some different brokerages, national brokerages, that had to pay.
Right.
Just based on antitrust or just inflating overall, prices of homes and things like that. Buyers and sellers didn't know who was really paying for what. I mean, I think so that's the onus of this, and that's what brought the changes.
Yeah.
Right. And those lawsuits and the NAR based on that, the National Association of Realtors, came up with some changes that we're going to make things more transparent.
Yeah. The other, stating that working with a buyer's agent is free.
Yeah.
That was classified in one of those lawsuits that was inflated verbiage or the way that someone would, as an agent, they would state that. But in essence, it's not free.
No, because the buyer's buying that house, giving the money to the seller for them to be able to pay.
That's correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And they didn't know. I mean, tell a story of, there was one gentleman that he's been in for years and he didn't
ever have a signed buyer's agency agreement. Yeah, I just encountered an agent that wrote an offer on a property that I had listed, and I had called them back because I looked at the offer and I reviewed it, and he did not have the strike through stating that he was representing the buyer as a buyer's agent. And I called him up and I said, hey, by the way, is this something that you forgot? Or, what's your representation? What's your position with this customer? And he's like, I've been in the business for 20 years and I've never had a signed buyer's agency agreement.
Yeah.
And that is just something I'm not comfortable with.
Yeah. Because obviously he's never had that really good conversation as far as what what's the transparency? Like, what is this contractual agreement? What actually is it? Is he ever having a conversation, or has he ever had a conversation with his buyers?
Right. What is my profession? What is the services that we provide?
Correct.
Why do you hire a buyer's agent? Why do you hire an attorney? You know, why do you hire people that are skilled and knowledgeable in their craft?
Yeah.
And that I just found that very interesting, that he never had that done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think as well for everybody, tuning in today, there were options. I mean, there was some transparency, I guess you would say, as far as, how things were going to look. Buyers and sellers especially had options. They still have options, right? They could do for sale by owner because they knew that I'm not paying anybody.
Yeah. They
right?
could do flat fee brokerages.
Yeah. Right? So there were options out there. I mean, many times realtors would sell a house, but they would still pay the 2.4%. Maybe sometimes they wouldn't. But because they know that that's going to bring more buyers in. Right, to be able to complete that transaction. And
well, I thought that was something that you did on your own.
Yeah.
You've sold a few homes on your own, haven't you?
Yeah. Before I got into real estate, I sold a few homes on my own, got myself a lawyer, and I did that.
But you then paid the buyer's agent.
I still paid the buyer's agent.
Right.
Yeah.
So the incentive, I feel, from a selling standpoint, as a seller's agent, or as a listing agent, I should say, is that I feel like it's still important. I don't think things should change drastically.
Yep.
I feel that it's important that a seller does still incentivize a buyer's agent.
Yep.
Now, is that going to be the hard number of what it always used to be of, 2.4% or 3% or 2%? No, I think that can change depending on the client and the house and the price that it gets set at.
It's going to be a conversation, right, with your potential client, as far as how do we want to make this look. But you got to be transparent as far as what the options are. But it's no longer going to be 6%, right, because you don't know what the buyer's agent commission is going to be to pay out. Like, so it's going to probably be more. Correct me if I'm wrong, 2-3% from a seller, and then but they're willing to pay, and that would have to be written into the offer.
It would, yeah. So if you're a buyer, you want to have very candid conversations, interview a buyer's agent, right? Figure out, I mean, that's the importance of this whole podcast and really what we're about.
Correct. Talk to more than one person.
Yes.
Right? Talk to multiple agents. It's the biggest financial decision you're ever going to make.
Yep.
Or could be. Talk to multiple people, especially with these changes. Who is the most transparent? How are those conversations going? What are you comfortable with?
Yeah.
Right?
What position are you going to be in if you're working with a buyer's agent that is always going to collect or always write into the offer 2.4%, or they want 3%, you know? If that does not work and that seller draws a line in the sand and says, hey, we're not offering any incentive to you as a buyer's agent, we're not giving up anything, then do you have that contractual relationship and do you have that in the contract to where that buyer's going to pay you directly?
Yeah.
And that's important because...
And if they're not, though, right, then they can just put it as a contingency. If they don't accept it, then we're not taking it.
But think about the disadvantage that you're going to be in as a buyer if there's multiple offers on a property and I'm writing in, I want to get paid 2.4%, and my client says that's approved. You know, my buyer says, hey, that's what we talked about. Go ahead and try to get paid that way. But invertly, what does that impact that bottom line to that seller?
Are they going to accept that offer now because of that?
Yeah, because now they have to pay, let's just say it's a $500,000 house, and they have to pay 2.4% of that, which is $12,000, versus me having, and we customize everything accordingly to what our clients' needs are.
Yep. And what they're comfortable with.
Yeah, what they're comfortable with. If they have the money and they do want us to go into an offer without asking to get paid, we'll do that, right? And we'll have those conversations around that of what that fee would be. But if that's the case, if I'm working with a buyer that says, hey, we're working with Doering&Co and we're going to pay them directly, our offer is going to be more attractive potentially.
It could be. Yeah.
Because we're not asking the seller to pay us.
Yeah.
And
it's just going to be another, spoke in a wheel or whatever you want to say, as far as what goes into the negotiation. What's the situation of the house that you're looking at? What's the price point? How attractive is the house? I mean, that's what kind of, it's just going to be, but it's going to be more transparent to both the buyer and the seller. The seller's going to be responsible for X. The buyer's going to be responsible for X.
Right.
And then it's still, I think, all going to work out. It's just going to be more transparency as far as both sides knowing what's going to happen or who's responsible for what.
Yeah, I think it really just shakes up and helps with the overall public eye of a real estate agent and who a realtor is, right? Yeah. What is their profession? What do they provide?
And tell that.
Right.
Be transparent of what that is.
Yep.
Right? No more free and not even going into that conversation as far as what this is going to look like.
Yeah, no buyer's agency showing a house.
Yeah.
You got to have, and that, we've talked about that, Mike. We, what does that do on the flip side of someone if we offer tours, right?
Yeah.
And so we want to show some homes, but they're not committed clients. Mm-hmm. At that point, we are just interviewing them, and they're interviewing us to make sure it's a two-way street. So, do they want to commit to us?
Yeah.
And that'll be, I guess, as this continues to evolve and things come down as far as because I know other states like Colorado, you had mentioned, right? They're somewhat
There's talk
it.
that they're not going to agree to that. So, but again, like I said, that's just happened, right? So more and more is going to kind of shake up.
Yeah,
correct. But I think it comes down to is, we kind of come to an end here is that at the end of the day, there was all buyers and sellers all had options.
Always had an option.
Right. Now it's just going to be more transparent and really now challenge your realtor to be able to communicate that, be transparent with that, and what are you comfortable with? What is the conversation? What are the needs? And make sure that it fits as far as how it's going to look. Challenge
that referral source that has said, oh, hey, by the way, my aunt or my uncle or my friend is a realtor.
That should go away. That should be less and less.
And so, that's great. That's great that they have a referral source, but really make sure that that's the right fit and the people that you want to work with, especially in today's market. Today's market is very competitive. As the millennials are buying more homes, Gen Z's coming. Yep. I mean, there's a large population that's turning over, and more homes are going to be bought and sold. So it's going to be a really competitive market, and I'm looking forward to what this new lawsuit is going to, how it's going to shape our industry. I think it's going to be a really great addition to just helping. Again, the transparency and then kind of weeding out the people that really have not taken this industry and our profession serious. Yeah.
Correct.
Which there's many. I've been in 3 states as a licensed broker, and I can tell you that there's many chameleons out there just riding by the seat of their pants thinking that they know how to
figure it out as they go. And it's not going to be the case. I mean, I think there's, I don't know if the stat was 80, 90. It's a high number. But of people interview one agent.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's now going to be gone, as it should be. Right. So change is hard, but also change is good. At the end of the day, it's going to be a good change. There's going to be more transparency, and it's going to make the realtors be better.
Yeah.
As all of us should want to be. I mean, right. That's Doering&Co. That's what we're about. Kaizen. Right.
Put us in a panel of all realtors and interview that panel.
Correct.
Get 3 realtors, 4 realtors, and interview us all at once.
Yeah, and who you're most comfortable with, who is able to, walk away being like, okay, I got it. They understand me. I understand them.
And I also, to wrap this up, I think it's important that you spend a day maybe looking at a house with an agent.
Yeah.
So you know how they go about showing a home. Yeah. And at that point, you're going to have a better understanding of their awareness of the house, how to describe it, how to look at it.
Yeah.
what to point out,
Well, yeah.
how to emphasize different aspects of the home, the floor plan, any deferred maintenance,
Yep.
positioning in the home, where the sun comes in, where the sun sets. I mean, those are all very huge aspects to buying a house.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, hopefully it just opens up. Knowledge is key, and a more knowledgeable customer, client, that's a good thing. And so, end of the day, I think we're okay with this change, and I think it's going to actually be good for the industry.
Same here.
And make the things more transparent. So, more information to come. Again, this just happened, but we have the next part of our episode where we have a great guest with us today. Somebody from the Elm Grove
Community
Foundation to talk about Oktoberfest coming up here very, very soon. I think the weekend of September 20th. So with that, super excited to bring in Ted Wentzel to our episode. Ted, come on in. Great conversation on the new norm and housing prices. And it's just good background information for buyers, sellers to know and have that background as far as what we've experienced in the past may not be the case, going forward.
Yeah, there's some factors that play into what's happening in today's market and housing with interest rates and jobs and
Yep.
just how much the prices have gone up, in the past 3 to 4 years. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors and influences out there that are going to have, a way to change. There's going to be some changes that are coming up for sure.
So now we have some more information to come. I mean, we'll continue to bring information to support what things might look like going forward. But now we have the best part of the podcast, the location, community. We've said it since the first episode, but people care about where they live, the neighborhood, the community, many times more than the house itself. And that's the onus for this podcast. And today we have a great guest from the Elm Grove Community Foundation, Ted Wentzel. And Ted, welcome to the show.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Very excited.
We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
We appreciate it. Just take some time out of your schedule to come in and talk about community and the impact that your organization has on the community and vice versa. The impact that they have on you guys.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
So let's just start out. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I guess we moved here in 2016 to Elm Grove, and so we've been here about 8 years, and we love it. My kids love it, and my spouse and I love it, and it's just a great community. So we're really happy to be here.
Yeah. Why Elm Grove? Why did you?
We were looking for something that was close to the city, close to the airport, but also I had heard great things about Elm Grove community. It was pretty tight knit. The neighbors were great, and that's exactly what I found. I mean, the day we moved in, our neighbor from across the street came over with a bottle of wine and her number on a phone card, and just said, "Hey, if there's anything you need, just give me a call. I'm happy to kind of show you around and explain what's what here in Elm Grove." And so, just the reception from the beginning was top notch.
Yeah. And raise kids as well?
3 boys. They've grown up in Elm Grove. They go to Arrowhead, but they're with me half the time, and they've just had a blast. They love, when they were younger, riding their bikes down to the park, to RJ's for ice cream, to the chocolate factory for sub sandwiches. Now they're older, so they go down and play volleyball and basketball in the park. But yeah, they really have had a great time growing up here.
That's awesome. And the Elm Grove Community Foundation.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit.
How'd you get involved?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really great organization. But soon after moving in the fall, I saw some signs for Oktoberfest. We had nothing going on that weekend, and so we decided to go to the park and check it out. And I was just amazed to see how many people were down there. Like the whole community came out. They're all having fun, having beers, having some food, playing some games. And it was just amazing to see everybody just come out and have a good time. And so I saw a friend of mine, and I'm like, "Hey, who put this on?" And she explained it was the Elm Grove Community Foundation. So I said, "Well, point me in the direction of whoever is organizing this." And so I met one of the board members, and I said, "Hey, if you guys ever do this again, let me know, because I'd love to help out." And lo and behold, a few months later, a board seat opened up and they called me and said, "Hey, do you want to come in, meet the board? Because we'd love to have you come on board." And that was kind of the beginning.
Yeah.
And then the next year I took over managing the beer tent. And then the year after that, I just took over Oktoberfest. And then I've been president for the past 2 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the phone call rings and you're like, "Hey, you want to be involved?" And you're like,
I'm in.
"You're in."
Yeah, I'm in. I mean,
Well, not only is he an Elm Grove resident, but then you're a community advocate helping the community, basically build that foundation of bringing people together,
yeah.
building relationships. And that's really what's great about the Oktoberfest event is it's local people from everywhere, but primarily Elm Grove.
Elm Grove, Brookfield.
Yeah, Elm Grove. Yeah, Waltosa.
Yeah.
And it's a family event, right? It's a family event.
We have games for kids, games for adults. So I remember the first year it seemed like it was mainly adults. But as people got used to it, they started bringing their kids. And so when we put up lights, we lit up the playground, or we started getting activities for kids so that the whole family could come down, spend the evening, and everybody had a great time.
Yeah, because it started out just kind of an adult party.
It was just a beer fest.
And no lights? Or lights inside the tent?
We had a few lights, but it didn't light up the whole park. And now we pretty much light up like the playground, the volleyball area, the main part, and even where all the food trucks are near the street. So we try to make use of the whole park, or as much as we can.
That's great.
Yeah. And we'll get more into Oktoberfest, but maybe just even touch a little bit more on the foundation itself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What we do is we raise money through Oktoberfest, which is our main fundraiser, as well as a letter campaign where we write to the community asking them for donations. We then take that money and we supplement what the village can't necessarily afford or doesn't have a budget for. And that could be anything from helping to pay for the splash pad at the community pool, or buying equipment for the police department. We sponsor Tunes on Tuesday. We supplement the recreational department budget so they can do more things. And even the fireworks on 4th of July, we underwrite that.
Yeah.
And it's just a great way for us to give back and enhance the community.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think, in past conversation a little bit, this all the different organizations in Elm Grove.
Yeah, that's what I was also amazed. There are like tons of civic organizations, from the Rotary to the Junior Guild to the Women's Club, the Elm Grove Women's Club. I mean, you can find anything if you want to get involved in the community.
Yeah.
There's a ton of opportunity.
Yeah. And I think that just goes to, Elm Grove in general and the surrounding communities, that you can have so many organizations be successful in such a small area because you have so many people that are willing to give.
Yeah.
To make it a better place.
They all want to make it a better place, enhance it somehow.
Yeah. And every one of those organizations are very different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? I mean, the Junior Guild and the Women's Club, I mean, those are very different organizations.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
even the Rotary, which raises money and donates it to not only local charities, but global charities as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that just goes to, just the community aspect, right? To have within a small area, all these people that are active.
Right.
And for people looking to want to be active.
Yeah.
Right. Elm Grove offers so many things.
It does. And I've lived in communities on the East Coast, West Coast, but I've never really found something quite like Elm Grove in the way that people are committed to the community. A lot of folks grew up there. They go to college, they come back because they just realize how special it is. It's really a unique place.
Yeah. That's good to hear. That's similar to what our last guest had said about Elm Grove.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. About how the kids, he's now seeing the kids come back because of what they've experienced in Elm Grove, and also the Western Racquetball Club, and how that influenced the kid to come back knowing that's a great place to raise a family.
Right.
People buy their parents' home and they come back.
I know.
Yeah.
That happens a lot.
It happens a lot. And it goes to the community itself that, that we're talking about.
Yeah.
So now Oktoberfest, let's maybe get, we touched on a few things, but coming up in, the September.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
the third weekend in September every year. This year it's the 20th and the 21st. It starts 5 o'clock on Friday night. We have Tom Leahy Band, as well as a huge offering of German and American beers by Molson Coors. We'll have food trucks, so there'll probably be 7 different food trucks, so you can find anything you want to eat.
Okay.
Fish fry this year?
And a fish fry. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. That's really popular.
And that's new?
Wisconsin. That is new. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Friday.
think we tried it once, and we're going to try it again. It's a lot of work, but people love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it continues on Saturday, the 21st. We have a 0.5K fun run that starts at 3:30.
I might be able to finish that.
I think you could, yeah. And there's some incentive because you get some beers along the way too.
Yeah.
So you have to keep going to get the next beer.
You do.
Okay, yeah, that's incentive.
Yeah, it's a great family-friendly event. It's really like from ODs to the park.
A lot of kids race
A lot of kids run it. They get root beer.
Yeah.
The adults get beer. And ODs is great. They're a big sponsor of the fun run. And then it ends at the park. And then we have bands. We'll have an accordion player in the beginning of the night. And then the Jeff Winnard Band will play traditional German polka music. We also have a kids climbing wall new this year, which thankfully is donated or sponsored by Doering&Co. So we really appreciate your help with that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But it's just a great activity for kids to come, and they can play on the playground, play on the climbing wall, and everybody has a great time.
Yeah. How has it grown over the last? I mean, I think you said 7 food trucks. Has it increased over time?
Yeah. The first time I went in 2016, it was just one night, and I think 4 hours. And since then, we've expanded it to 2 nights. We've added a lot of activities. We now have food trucks.
Yeah.
I think the first year we didn't have food, or it was selling hot dogs. It was pretty simple, but it's really taken off, and the whole community comes out and supports us and really helps us really do a great job with it.
We have a large tent. I mean, the tent is massive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 60 by 110. We've increased the size of the tent this year. And one of the nicest things is also local businesses help us underwrite the Oktoberfest as well. So the presenting sponsors, Honest Teeth, Molson Coors is a big sponsor of the beer tent. Of course, Uptown Motors is a great sponsor. O'Donoghue's, Waterstone Bank is a sponsor. Doering Company, and then Weber Physical Therapy is a sponsor. So everybody comes out and really helps us put on a great time for the community to raise money that we can then give back and make community life even better.
Yeah. It's a perfect example, right? The community comes out to support this event, and then this event, to raise money for the foundation that then gives it back.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's a complete circle. I mean, it
is.
That's what you can't write it out any better, really, right?
Right. That's what it's all about, and they get to have a great time reconnecting with their friends and neighbors, and some folks they haven't seen probably in a couple months. All under the tent at Oktoberfest.
Yeah. On September 21st, which is my birthday. It's a good day.
55.
Yeah, 55 years old.
Look good.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
So, how has it been successful from the standpoint of raising money? I don't know if you can maybe just talk.
Well, every year we raise more. Obviously, with our sponsors, we cover all of our costs. But last year we raised about $70,000 total with sponsorships and sales, and cleared probably closer to 40. So we were able to really take that and fund a lot of the programs that we do. We do some typical every year funds, every year programs. For instance, the hanging baskets during the summer, we pay for the Christmas lights we put up. We sponsor fireworks, Tunes on Tuesday. July 4th weekend, we pay the rec department and allow for a free swim, so community members can swim for free at the community pool. And then there are also, like I said, we underwrite or help pay for equipment that the police department may need that they don't necessarily have the budget for.
Yeah.
Surprise them with pizzas.
Yeah, we do the dispatch and police department appreciation week. So we bring them food just to say thank you for everything that you do.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
This year we added the maintenance department as well. So we brought them pizzas just as a way to say thank you. Especially after the snow we had this last winter, they were out like 24 hours, I don't know for how many days, clearing the streets.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just making sure that we were all safe and could get around. And this was just a small way to say thank you.
Yeah. That's great because you take it for granted, right? You just
do.
think that's their job. They're supposed to do that. But
Right.
to take that like organization to go out and do those little things.
Yeah. I mean, they were out on the
It
weekend. They were
matters.
out late at night. They went
Yeah.
and left their families. I mean, they were really committed folks. So
Yeah.
we were just able to say thank you to them.
Yeah. I mean, thank you. I mean, just to share the organization and what, the Elm Grove Community Foundation is about. And just how, I guess, like we talked, the community supports it and then you support back. I think
Right.
it's a great example.
Yeah,
It
it's a
is.
great circle.
Yeah.
It's great.
And then, noting that you lived in other areas, right? You lived on the East Coast, you lived on the West Coast. I lived on the West Coast, and you can't find that in other communities. I mean,
It's magic.
It's-
It's
yeah.
something that you can't bottle. And you just, when you see it, you know it. And it's
Yeah.
right here.
And it's
It's
hard
right
to
here.
describe.
It is.
It's really hard to describe. And that's,
It is.
having you come on and just talk about it. I mean, I think that's the only way you can do it is to talk about it, right? Because you have the feeling, but just to give it some context. I
Yeah,
mean, I think
exactly.
It's
great.
motivating, to be honest. I mean, that's why I got involved.
Yeah, you're on the
and
board too.
I feel like hearing these stories, I mean, just motivates you to be more of a more involved citizen in the community, and someone that's just an advocate for, creating a really fun environment, and seeing the children and people,
Yeah.
grow
Having a good
and
time.
having a
Yeah.
good time. Yeah.
Having a good time.
Yeah. Oktoberfest has been very fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's become a great signature event for Elm Grove community.
This is what people look forward to. I can't
Yeah.
wait.
They do.
Right.
And we had what do you think the total population, or how many attendees had come?
I think it's up to about 2,000 people a night. So
Wow.
all in all, about 4,000 people come throughout the weekend and buy a lot of beer. So
Yeah, typically a lot of
lot of
people are
fun.
staying throughout the night.
yeah.
And come back the next day.
One of
that
our
never happens, right?
And they can walk there too because it's
Yes.
the village park, which is
Yeah.
in the center of the village.
Yeah.
And I think one of the favorite events is the what is it? Raise your
Raise Your
pints.
Pint.
Yes.
Yeah, every year. We do men's and women's, and then the kids get
The
involved
kids.
too. So, yeah, Paul Winter is the MC again this year, and he does a great job every
All
year
right.
where he just keeps the crowd entertained, and people really get into it, and especially the kids.
There's
so
a big
we have
crowd.
to do like round after round after round.
Have you ever done it?
I have.
How'd it go?
I was the 2022 champion.
Oh, you were?
I was.
Wow,
Yeah.
you left that in the wraps. You got to share that. That's good stuff. I did not know that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm glad I asked.
Yeah.
I guess Ted, anything else you just would want to share? I mean, you've talked, you've lived everywhere, but just for people in Elm Grove or people looking to move to Elm Grove and consider it as a place to have as their home.
Yeah, definitely. If you see a house you like, move fast because they go fast. And if you're here, make sure you give yourself some space to volunteer, get involved with one of these organizations. Not only will you meet a lot of new people, but you'll make some new friends too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, Ted, thank you so much, for coming on, the show, but just for all your work, in the community and the impact that you guys have on it.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We greatly appreciate it. Can't, say that enough. So, thanks everybody for tuning in, and hope to see you next time on Location Community. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Location Community. I hope today's episode gave you a deeper understanding on how the right community can enhance your living experience and enrich your life. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a message, and share it with your friends or anybody looking to make the most informed decision about where to live. And remember, it's not just about the house you buy, it's about the community you're joining. Until next time, I'm Jeremy Daring and Mike Rohr, reminding you that the best investment you can make is in a place where you feel connected, supported, and inspired. See you on the next episode.